Hi, I'm Amy, and this is my kitchen in Dallas, Texas. And I'm doing a recipe today that I've made so many times. I made it for my kids as they were growing up, and I'm going to make it today even though it's 100 degrees outside. It's comfort food. It's something you would make in the winter, but we're going to just pretend because we're stuck inside with air conditioning. And so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to put on my apron a second and get started. And I have a pot. The first thing I did was put on a pot of boiling water over here for the lasagna noodles. Oh, by the way, if I didn't say, we're making lasagna. My traditional go-to lasagna recipe. And everybody makes their own. Everyone has their own way of doing it, but this is mine. So I am going to start chopping up. And like I said, everybody has their own way. Little shout out to my daughter. That's for her. She'll know why. But I'm not going to cut up the onion completely, totally with just a knife. I have a food chopper that cuts it up really fast so that you don't have to cry, because it happens to me every time. And I don't want to have makeup running down my face for this video. So I'll show you how that works. And then if you don't have one, then you should invest in one, because they're really, really cool. It's a good invention. And you can do more things than just onion, but I just kind of chop up like larger chunks like this to begin with so it can fit inside here. Oh, sometimes it's a little bit there. It also takes out aggression, if you have any. And so the more you hit it, the smaller the dice get. So don't go crazy, because you want like just medium dice, like that. But it's kind of fun. When my kids were little and they knew I was doing this, they would say, "Oh, wait, I want to do it." And they would come in and do this. Because it does seem fun. So I am going to move that. And I'm going to do this whole onion. Sometimes, and I found with these food choppers, you always want to, especially if you're cutting bell peppers, cut it with the open side up, not the skin side up, because it won't cut through. Okay, just about there. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to put this over in the sink. And then, and I always forget that I have these like little kitchen gadgets that I never use. I forget that I have them, but this is kind of a handy way of like scooping up chopped up veggies to get them into the pot that you're working with. But I'm going to do the garlic a minute first. So this is just a head of garlic, and I'm going to do, oh, I don't know, 3, like they're good size, like that. Put this back in the fridge. I keep my garlic in the fridge. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to, but I also keep bread in the fridge, which most people think is weird. So the easiest way to do this is just hit it with your knife, and then it just easily comes out of the paper. Oh man, you know what? I'm going to get rid of these onions a minute because I'm starting to cry. 1 second. I'm just going to put them in here. That's where they need to be anyway. And then let me just get it's that onion oil. Okay, get rid of that off the cutting board. So, okay. I'm still crying. It's not you, it's me. But I have another gadget that I use that I've had for years. It's a garlic press. Most people have these also in their kitchen. And it's just easier to me to mince garlic. Does it quickly. And the third one. And then just take a knife and slide it off. Okay, and there's that. I guess I should have had like a, I have to keep walking over to the sink. I should have had like a garbage bowl. And this is boiling and I'm not quite ready for it yet, so I'm going to turn it down and just leave the lid on. Okay, and so I'm going to get out my hamburger and Italian sausage, pound of each. But you're supposed to just really want, like, you don't want a ton of meat in the meat sauce, but you want it to be, you know, meaty. And so it's supposed to be a pound total of a combination of the two. But I'm going to do a whole pound of ground beef and then just half Italian sausage. So it may be a little bit more than you're supposed to, but you can really do whatever you want, whatever your preference is. And I haven't actually done Italian sausage that often. Normally I just do ground beef because I have it in the freezer. But since I went to the store, we thought, let's make it a little special and add that in. It's going to add even more flavor because of the seasonings in there. And you can start these by themselves if you want, but I always just add everything in just together because then you don't need to add olive oil or anything extra to start cooking the onions, because the ground beef will start release its own grease and then the onions just cook all with it. So it's just an extra step you can skip. And this, of course, is going to have fat in it. So we have it on high just to get it going. That's one of my cooking downfalls. I turn everything on high because I'm impatient. So watch it. I'm just going to wash my hands a minute. And we're only using, believe it or not, this recipe only uses 6 lasagna noodles. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but, and you can do more. It's up to you. This pan that I'm using, I forgot, is a little bit larger, so I may just do a couple extra so that you can make it all fit like that. So I'll probably just do 8 today because I'm using a different pan. Get those out. And you could start cooking them anytime, which I think I will, as long as you keep your eye on it, because I don't want them to get too soft. They want to have like a little bit of an al dente because they're going to cook in the sauce once it goes into the oven. Which reminds me, get a pan. Okay, all those onions, I just move the onions kind of into the meat and start letting the meat cook down. And so it's kind of time consuming. Lasagna is a lot of steps. It's so worth it though. And then you have so many meals like for the rest of the week with it, and then it just cooks. The oven makes it. And the whole house is going to smell so good. So I thought that to round out the meal tonight, we would just have Caesar salad and French bread. Can't go wrong with that. Even though, like I said, it's not December, it's July. It's kind of up to you too, how small you want the chunks of meat, how much broken up you like it. I like some chunks. Okay, so this is, while it's kind of like, it's just halfway cooked right here, I'm going to get my seasonings in there. And it is going to be, let's see, I've got 2 teaspoons basil, 1 teaspoon oregano, and 1 teaspoon fennel. So, which I've got them all out here. And the fennel, I don't know if you've ever had fennel, but it adds so much flavor. Whoops. It's an interesting flavor, fennel. It's supposed to taste like licorice a little bit, but to me it just tastes like Italian. And then 2 teaspoons of basil. then 1 teaspoon fennel. And I don't know if you noticed, but I sort of do heaping teaspoons. And then I just eyeball it, just some salt and pepper. And I'll taste it to make sure that it's enough. Oh, I can smell the Italian sausage in there. It's good. Make sure these are not sticking. Okay. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. Yeah, and there is no fat in here because of what I bought, so that's perfect. You don't have to drain it. One less thing. Okay, I'm going to turn that off just for a second because it's cooked, and I need to open up my tomato cans, and I don't want it to burn. So I'm using, sorry, my camera here. It is it's just this small little 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, believe it or not. It's tiny. And then just a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. And this is a 14.5-ounce can of diced tomatoes, and it's supposed to be, I believe just half of this can, but I'm sort of remembering that I think I used the whole thing. I'm going to see what it looks like, but we made extra meat this time, so I think we're going to want the extra tomatoes. I should have paid attention that it wasn't the dented one. Okay. I'm going to turn this back on. Okay, the first thing that I do is just fill this up with cold water because I want to stop these from cooking like right away. And also, if you just leave them soaking in cold water, they don't stick together. Then they'll stay like separated until you're ready to use them. So that's good. So I just have it on like medium low, just to kind of bring it up to a little bit of a boil because you want to like incorporate all those seasoning flavors together with the tomato sauce and kind of cook down the tomato flavor just a little bit because I think this is going to be good. This is fine. It might be a little bit less tomatoey than we're used to, but I'm going to call this meat lasagna. Extra meat lasagna for boys. This is hungry boy meat lasagna. That's what I love, lasagna. You can do whatever you want. There's no mistakes. You literally like just yeah. Okay. So let's just cook that for a few minutes. And while we're doing that, I'm going to make the cheese mixture. And we need Parmesan and mozzarella and 1 egg. If I can get it. Okay. Welcome to my fridge. And this is another thing that I do. It's a shortcut. I buy pre-shredded mozzarella because, I mean, it's going to taste the same. It melts, and nobody's going to know that you did all that work for what. And I like cottage cheese better than ricotta cheese because it has a little bit more of a flavor to it than ricotta. Ricotta is like really bland. Like it doesn't really taste like anything to me. So it is a whole package of 16-ounce cottage cheese. And I use this spatula that's a spatula, but it's like a spoon also. I love this one. Spatula that's a spoon. So that. And you can just crack the egg in there. I was going to add fresh parsley in my cheese mixture this time, but I accidentally bought cilantro at the store, so we're just going with what I normally would do anyway, which is just dried parsley. And I don't measure anything. I just sprinkle it in there. And then Parmesan. And I don't measure this either. I just like go like this. I mean, you cannot have too much cheese, so why measure? And so this is it. I don't know if you can see what this looks like. This is the filling. Oh, and a little salt and pepper. And I think I know that I'm already going to want a little bit more salt in here, so. Okay. Don't overmix it. I mean, you want that egg blended and mixed in there, but you don't want it to beat it like scrambled eggs. Okay, so that's that. That's done because we're just about ready to assemble. I told you this is a lot of steps, but it's so worth it, so worth it. I'm going to put them back in here. Yeah, that's perfect. They're cooked perfectly. Okay, so bring them over here. And this is where everybody kind of does something different also. Some people like to put a layer of sauce down first. I've never done that. I always just start immediately with the noodles. And they never stick. I don't have a problem, so I don't know. And look how they actually kind of plumped up a little bit. They're almost to the edge. I'm not really sure if I want to take the time to, maybe I just, let's see. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so the first layer, and don't try to be perfect because you can't be, but you kind of want to just eyeball it because you're going to be using, I only do 2 layers. That's the other thing that I do that's different. Because you can literally do as many layers as you want in lasagna. But you want, if you're just going to use half of this for the first layer, so just kind of eyeball it and just make sure that you kind of get a little bit everywhere in the corners. Kind of funny, I always am like really conservative in that first layer because I don't want to run out, and then all of a sudden the second layer I'm like, oh wow, I have all this left, so my layers are never even. That's okay. Okay, so then we'll bring the meat over, and this can cook as little or as long as you want. The longer the better, but you don't have to. It's just fine just to cook it and use it. I always kind of just do like go down half like that just so I know a little bit about how much I can use. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just probably not using the best spoon for this. I could use a big ladle, but some people don't have a ladle. Or maybe everybody does. I don't know. Okay. Ooh, I got some big chunks in there. Probably could have broken it up a little bit more, but that's okay. Okay. And then, next layer. And the recipe calls for 2 cups of mozzarella cheese. I use 4 because once again, it's cheese and I want it to be cheesy. I don't think that you can use too much, but it's up to you. And I don't measure. Maybe that's why I like making this, because I don't measure anything. Okay. Okay, then we start over. Oh, that's my other. And yeah, you can see that this pan's not that deep, so 2 layers is perfect, I think. That there. Okay. Try to keep the pan like a little bit clean. Okay. Cheese layer. This is really hard trying to cook and talk at the same time. It's really hard. Okay. Spread that around. I actually saw a recipe that somebody made that just recently where they put carrots in the meat sauce. I don't know if they were like trying to like sneak vegetables in so their kids didn't see it, but I've never seen that. I'm not sure what it would taste like, but okay. See how long I can hold this up. Yeah, see, this is what I mean where I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of meat sauce on this layer. Doesn't matter though, does it? Because when you put a bite in your mouth, you get all the layers. Okay. Get all the corners. Hopefully you can see. Yeah. Okay. Last layer is the cheese again. Okay, and then this is, you can see that I needed all that cheesy bit. And then I do this, it's not in the recipe, but I like to just do like a thin layer of just a little bit of Parmesan on top of that. Parmesan doesn't really melt as well as mozzarella, so it'll get just like a little bit of a crust on top, which I kind of like. And then that's it. So 375 for 35 minutes. Get this open. So it's been 35 minutes and this is coming out of the oven and it looks like perfect. It looks bubbly and cheesy and a little bit toasty on top. And it smells so good. I love it. And so then this just sits for 10 minutes. You want to let it rest and because you can't cut it until that cheese like stops bubbling for a little while. And garlic toast ready to put in the oven. And then that's dinner. This is like Sunday dinner in July. Oh geez, honey. I think our bread is done. Oh, it's perfect. Look. Oh, that smells so good. Am I on? Ah, hello. Hello. You caught me by surprise again. And now I'm talking like, I don't know who I am. I want to be Julia.
Is this your perfect dinner? Is this what you're showing us?
Yes, look at this, you guys. And it's better to cut with a very thin, sharp knife so that it makes perfect little squares, like for serving. And let it, like, cool, like I said, for 10 minutes. And that's it. We're going to dish up. The reveal. We want to see that spatula. Do you want a smaller spatula? There, now you can see why also 2 layers, it's just fine. It's just enough. It's adequate. You don't need 3 layers to like make a yummy good lasagna. Like sometimes I think it's too much. I don't want like a big mouthful of pasta in my mouth. I want the meat and the cheese. Perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Lasagna is not as hard as you think. I hope you try this recipe at home. It's so good. Everybody will love it. And if you want the recipe, look for it in the description below and look for more videos that I'm going to be making soon in the future. So have a great night and thanks again for joining me. This is Amy in my kitchen. See you next time. Bye.